Hey everyone, it's SunTypes, and today I'm going over the top 10 best decks for the Paradox Rift meta. This is like a power rankings. It says week one, it might be week two. It's kind of in between the two, but it's essentially early rankings. But after we have seen some data, yeah, we got a pretty good idea of what the meta is looking like, but we don't know obviously exactly. And these are the 10 decks. I've combined some decks in some archetypes that are arguably don't belong together. I'd say they do. They're similar, and I've just decided to stick them together as allows me to put, I think, a more like complete list. But you can argue that maybe they don't belong together. But anyway, and these are not all new decks. Some are, and some have new pieces. Most have new pieces. Number 10 here, though, is Charizard. Charizard EX Dark type Charizard. A very powerful Pokemon, high HP. That being said, there are lots of things that can one-shot it. There are lots of things that punish single prizers, so it's dropped down some. Still in the top 10, though. Consider this deck decent. It's difficult for a few decks to deal with. It does have the new Jirachi, which is a nice little upgrade. You do have the evolution tool, but that's kind of sketchy as it doesn't always necessarily mix super well with the deck. You can also play it with Lost. You can play with Arceus, and those builds seem alright. They certainly don't seem bad, but they don't seem like amazing either. You also have, just kind of like a few more options. You do Taro's Scenario if you want to use that. You do have a Counter Catch if you want to use that, and I guess there's Earthen Vessel. I don't think you'd play that, but then there are a few options. Charizard's okay. It's not great, but it's squeaking its way into the top 10. Number 9 here, my surprise to you, it's Roaring Moon because it's pretty low. It kind of has a lot of the same downsides as Charizard. It's like weak to the same things, and it's weak to even more things. Its HP is lower, really just fast and really powerful in the early turns. You have either more Pico or the Among Us guy to allow you to hit as a single prizer, but it's not like amazing. And it's a very fast deck, a bit inconsistent. Pokestop, I'm obviously not the biggest fan of either. I have a bit of PTSD from this card. I literally hit out of six Pokestops, I hit four items. I whiffed completely on four Pokestops and across. I don't like Pokestop. And that doesn't mean Pokestop decks are bad. In fact, Roaring Moon's not bad. It's decent. It's very powerful, very fast. But in my opinion, it's a bit of a it's like a hype deck. So it's not bad. It's very good against certain things, but it's very linear, and therefore will fall away as the meta develops some. And it's good, but again very linear. You can hit really hard. You can one shot anything. Obviously, that's like the whole deck. And you can quite often attack turn one going second, which is good, but that's about it. That's like all you have going for you. I'd say it's kind of like the Miraidon Flaffy deck, or the Miraidon Regieleki deck, I should say, but better. Next up, we got Entei. Okay, I guess I should say like the two decks are a little different. But anyway, also tell me down below in the comments what you think of this setup, if you like it. I tried to style it a little bit differently, so I'm interested in if you're interested in that. And also your thoughts on the video as a whole, and like the video and subscribe and all that good stuff, as it's free and you can undo it at any time. And of course, comment down below if you think I misrepresented anything here. The results are primarily based on win percentage, play rate, and then of course my own personal opinion. But the win percentage and play rate are based on Limitless, which is the best data source for it. In my opinion, if there's something better, I'd certainly love to know. But Entei primarily played with Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant, interesting card, one that's like really decent. It's very good. It's a very strong attacker. And Entei is also a very strong attacker, I guess. But you can do like the Turbo Iron Valiant donk stuff with Metacham, and then of course you have Entei, powerful attacker here. So you're probably not donking with Entei because hitting super hard if they have hitting super hard if they are only running one like basic no bench, but Entei can still do pretty decent damage. And then you have like the Iron Valiant stuff, so you can hit like just very solidly. And this is arguably the I wouldn't say the best version of Entei's Suicune Raikou we've seen, but it's a very solid one, probably the best one in this current meta. There's a Raikou deck, I guess, a little higher, but it's not quite the same. And this is Turbo. It's kind of like Roaring Moon. It's a bit just safer, I'd say. A bit more versatile, but does like that like insane one-shot potential. You do have Radiant Charger though, which is very strong as well. So you have a few different options that are pretty good. And you don't like do massive amounts of damage to yourself. You only do a little with Magma Basin. Number 7 here we have Lugia Archeops. I just like ripped a random list. This list is like kind of weird because all these lists are from Play Limitless, and you can find your own. I highly recommend if you're looking for decks, go to Play Limitless and just take a look and grab some from there. This one's kind of weird. It plays a bunch of different things, but the big new inclusion is Earthen Vessel, allowing you to discard, search for basic energy, and Iron Hands, which is a which needs basic energy, and in addition to doing that, it takes extra prizes. Iron Hands is a bit of a weird card. I think it's been a little overhyped, but still pretty good. In fact, will I'll tell you be making an appearance later on in this list. But Lugia Archeops is arguably the best way to play it. It's a very decent deck. You have a little bit of versatility. You have a decent chunk. So this is weird here. Yeah, this list is kind of weird, but it's it's solid. Like you got the classic Lugia Archeops stuff, which is just like hit simply. You have good late game in terms of attackers, as you don't need as much going on, but you do struggle to find like bosses sometimes later on. You can play like water for Luminia. That's kind of cool. It's a bit back to the old Lugia Archeops, but certainly nowhere near as strong as that. But it's still pretty good. It's certainly a top 10 deck. I'd say you can run single strike. This is kind of grouped in here as well. It's a very different deck, and I'd say it's I'm not sure if it's better or worse. Because like single strike is, I'd say, more linear. Number 6 here, though, we got Chien-Pao EX with Iron Hands, EX, and Excalibur. This deck is so strong, but its win rate is so bad. So yeah, it's a bit of a like a high rolly deck. You have like 4 Pokestop, and you have like all these evolutions. I mean, you don't have an absurd amount of evolutions, but you got a bunch of stuff going on here. You got Iron Hands, you got all this stuff. It can just miss, like it can just fail, and it can kind of be bad, but it can be really good. It can one shot everything. It can take extra prizes. It essentially takes 2 prizes every turn, which is good. But it's a very straightforward deck. Also, I don't think you need Drapion. My personal opinion, I feel like you can beat Mew anyways, but I don't know. Can sidetrack a little here, but Radiant Greninja is still good. Iron Hands, a decent addition. Overall, pretty straightforward deck. Countercatcher, a nice addition as well, and Earthen Vessel, also a very good addition. The deck was very good and got better. There are other decks that kind of rose up and got better more, but still a very good deck. In fact, I don't think there are any other brand new decks on this list. Mew VMAX here is another good deck. I'm not the biggest fan of Mew VMAX, as some of you know, but it certainly is decent. Obviously, you can tech for it, but people aren't teching for it as much. You can play it with Double Turbo. You can play it with Fusion Strike. I personally don't like the Double Turbo. I think that deck is not particularly good on paper. I think it's bad, but in win rate, it like does well. And then you have, let's see, you have like Melota, Ice Cube, Genesect, your Path you can play. You have a bunch of things. You could run one of the new tools, one of the new TMs. They're pretty good. I don't think they're great for this deck, but you could run them. They could have some value if you wanted to like run Arven or something. You have like Pound Store in it and stuff. A pretty straightforward deck still though. Number 4 here is Gardevoir, which is not as straightforward. You got a bunch of additions. You got Luxurious Cape, you got Countercatcher, you got Screamtail, and you got Professor Turo's Scenario. All very good cards. And you have Earthen Vessel if you want to throw that in as well. It's pretty much the same Gardevoir with a few nice inclusions. Screamtail is a decent snipe attacker. It's better than Cress, I'd say. It's not like that much better than Cress, but it is. And more like reliable and stuff. It's different. It's like it's based on damage as opposed to like healing, which is kind of weird, but anyway. And then you have Luxurious Cape, allowing for some interesting combos, preservation of Pokemon, and a wide variety of things. Professor Turo's Snare is nice for like switch, scoop up. Actually helps control matchup a lot. And Countercatcher, good for control, but good in control, but it's also good in Gardevoir. It's good in a lot of decks, and gives you a bit more versatility. This list runs only one boss, kind of sketchy, but Countercatcher is nice. It's a generally play from behind deck. You have Reversal and if Iono. So yeah, Guardy still good. I'd say it's better than it was before. And it's a fun deck, I guess. It's not my favorite deck. I've never found a lot of success with it because I don't draw super well, but it's a good deck. Number 3 here, Giratina Lost Zone. I was considering putting this higher, but I don't know. It's very straightforward. It's not like super straightforward, but it's decently straightforward. And so you have obviously like you can use Radiant Greninja, but you don't always use Radiant Greninja. A lot of the time, it's just Giratina, Sableye, and Cram, which is like fine, but it's not super good. You do have rocks. I mean, it's just good. You got a lot of versatility. There's the Sableye scare and Toad School scare as well, so you might need like Path and like weird stuff. But Overall, you got a lot of versatility, a lot of power. You have counter catcher now. Not too many improvements for this deck, but it was a top deck. It's still a top deck, and it doesn't have too many counters. Obviously, there is the Sableye, like the Scare for Sableye with Toadstool, and more importantly, Jirachi, I guess for Sableye at least. But those aren't like super highly played, so mostly you're just doing the same thing. And then next up at number 2, we got Snorlax. Snorlax is the big hot new deck. It's not new, but it's so good. It's broken essentially. It's like I was considering putting it number 1 and I decided not to. Um, but it's really good. It's just like so easy to play as well. You just gust them up and you just Snorlax and you just gust them up and then you Snorlax and that's it the whole game. Snorlax is so good. I mean it's not the best, but well, it might be the best. I'm not sure. It's super good. It's easy as well. It's easy control. Control's usually good, but it's usually really hard to play. Now it's not, and now it's top 10 most played, and it's like essentially the highest winner deck in the game. Um, and it's very good. It's kind of hard to counter. Actually, it's not that hard to counter, but in counter you might like make your deck worse in other areas. And then, yeah, pretty straightforward though. Obviously, counter catcher, great improvement to the deck. There are other improvements to control, but I don't think any of them are played in this list. I don't think so, but then there are other improvements. Number 1 though, Lost Zone Box. I was considering not putting this number 1. We see Iron Hands popping in this list. It's good. Iron Hands is good in this deck, but you could play like anything. If you haven't seen All Out Blitzel, he's made some videos on it. Actually, they've been streams. I think All Out Blitzel unfortunately stopped making videos for a little while, which is kind of weird, but there's streams and there are lots of crazy Lost Zone decks. This can be with Radiant Ninja or with Radiant Charizard. Radiant Charizard, higher win rate but lower play rate, so take from that what you will. But Radiant Ninja is obviously good. You got Dragonite, you got Raikou, you got Iron Hands, you got Kramer, you got Sableye, you got Iron Valiant, you got Roaring Moon, you got Iron Jugulus if you want to play that. You got Tropius. I would probably wouldn't play Tropius, but you could play Tropius or Shaman. You got like so many options, and they're all like super insane. You have so many crazy things. You can play Counter Catcher, which is nice. You can play Krissa, you can play the Devolution TM. You can play and there's so many cards. Like you can do whatever you want. I think you can just put in like random cards in Lost Zone. And it's just super. You can put in like Minior. You can put in like Hollow Travis is good. You can put in like Lycanroc. You can put in like random VMAXs and V-Stars and stuff. I'm not counting like Gujarat or Teen in this, but you can just do whatever. Lost Zone's so good. And there is some build out there that is like better than everything else. I'm not sure exactly what that build is, but right now you don't need that. You don't need the perfect build to win like all your games either. It's so good. Lost Zone's been essentially like a top 5 since it came out, and I say it's still on top. I have seen someone who hypes up Lost Zone every set, and I think it's really good again. Yeah, I think you now have this really powerful one-shotting potential or like big damage potential if you want that, and if that's what you're looking for, and you got that in Roaring Moon, and you have other things as well. But overall, you just have so many options, and Jirachi is not that bad for this deck at all. Some people were saying like it would kill Lost Zone. It doesn't. Iron Hands is a bit scarier for the deck, but you can counter that with other things. You can play your own Iron Hands, but then you can play like V's and EX and stuff, and you're not that scared. You can play Luxurious Mandel. You can play Mimikyu as well. Overall, I hope you liked this video. If you did, consider subscribing, as I said earlier, and commenting down below your thoughts, liking the video if you enjoyed it, and disliking it if you didn't enjoy it. As always, I hope you did enjoy it, though, obviously. I'm going to be continuing making content on Pokemon, obviously. And I think I will have an analytics-based video. Some cool stuff coming in the future, though. And as always, I'm excited to see you next time. See ya.